guys, it's your girl Liz, and today I am here to talk about Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga. Now, my history with the Hellblade game, back in 2017, I played it and it was a very groundbreaking game and experience for me, and ever since that moment I was, I always knew that I would be loyal to Ninja Theory and what they make, and especially Hellblade. I learned so much about psychosis, I learned so much more about mental health, and the fact that I got to experience that through a video game was so special to me, and it was unmatched, and is still unmatched, because there is no game like Hellblade. So with Senua's Sacrifice, I was definitely all in for the kill, and I loved it, and it was one of the best experiences I've had for a very long time. Come to 2024, a week before Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga's release, I did play Hellblade 1 again to see how valid it was in 2024, and in all honesty, I wanted to show my audience on stream why I was so hyped for the second game. So I just felt like it was an opportunity that I took advantage of, and my viewers really did enjoy it. And playing Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice in 2024, I found, we have been spoiled with games, and so much has happened, and games have progressed and developed so much since Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, that I grew a little bit impatient with it. But again, I did experience it, so it was just a little bit more difficult for me to enjoy it as a game rather than just a story that I'd already experienced before. But I did it for my viewers. Also, before I get started, I need to explain that Senua's Sacrifice and Senua's Saga are very open world looking, super linear games. Like, you need to do what the game needs you to do, and you need to go where the game needs you to go. Exploration, pretty much non-existent. It's just a cinematic experience that you get to control. Just go with the flow, listen to the story, and enjoy. So in Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, the combat wasn't the best, but it also wasn't that bad. There just wasn't much to it. I felt like it made sense for the story and for what they were trying to tell us, so I was okay with that. I loved it so much that nothing really bothered me in the first game. Coming to the second game, I felt like the combat was just a little tinge more enhanced, but not so much. I felt like the blocking and the parrying system in the second game wasn't as fluent or as effective. Like, I felt like I was parrying, but it didn't really parry, it didn't hit, and I felt like it was much better in the first game. So that was something that I noticed. But the transitions between the fighting and how visceral and how cinematic all the fighting scenes were when I came across them were so gorgeous. Like, the transition between cinematic and gameplay, and like when you're finishing off an enemy and then another enemy stops by, or your friends help you, and just that smooth transition was just so impressive to me. I loved it very much. Like, it was just beautiful, and it was so fluent, and you don't even realize that you're about to play, but you're playing and you're in gameplay mode. It's just absolutely stunning, and something that blew me away completely. And again, with the mirror, we had the mirror for slow motion effects and stuff like that as well, which felt like they didn't last as long, and that they only lasted as long as your enemy is polished off. But that's that. The enemies in Senua's Saga were pretty much non-existent. Like, yeah, there were a few really cool fight scenes and segments in the game, but I feel like it was less again. And with the enemies, I felt like there would be more boss fights. I felt like there would be more one-to-one interesting, creepy boss fights, but there really wasn't. I was expecting every encounter with the giants that I've come across in the game, I expected to fight them. I wanted to fight them, but all I really did was like free them from chains or help them move on without really fighting them. And that was so odd to me. That was so like, why didn't you let me slay the beast? It was more, again, of a cinematic experience that was admirable, that was a little bit repetitive, because both interactions with the two giants felt like the same mission, except one's on land and one's in water? I don't know, it was just kind of weird. Again, very beautiful and gobsmacking, but not enough. Visually, I didn't know how much more it could be improved until I played Senua's Saga. I don't think there has ever been a game like Hellblade that's done it the way Hellblade has done it. So much respect to the graphics in the game. I was just mouth open wide, in awe, just want to look at the atmosphere, and I want to explore it, but you just can't. So that kind of sucked, but again, playing Hellblade and knowing what that game is like, I did know that it was normal for a game like this. I did want it to be a little bit more open world, seeing as that it's the second game, but it just didn't work out that way. Now, I felt like the puzzles in this game were so easy that like a 5-year-old could do it with no problem. And I felt like I was less motivated to solve a puzzle because I'm like, all right, here's another easy one ready to go. There wasn't any challenges. I feel like it was visually more beautiful, but as a puzzle, not as effective. Even with the little tiny extra thing that they added where when you find a face, it opens up a pathway to a tree with more information and knowledge about Senua and her journey. Everything in this game was just very rinsed and repeated, and it didn't really add much on to what we already experienced. The performance from, what's her name? Melina, was absolutely beautiful. Like, I always found myself captivated by her performance, her facial expressions, her eyes, her voice, her screams. Everything about Senua is perfection. I love her. I adore her. Her performance was just incredible. As a story, I felt like it wasn't as powerful as the first one, and I wasn't as invested to know what's going on, right? And then all these other random people that she groups up with and all that kind of stuff were just there for the sake of being there. So yes, I started my journey alone, and I know that I'm not alone now, but is that what ruined the game? Maybe? You know? Because that creep factor just disappeared for me. Now, in saying that, I'm not disappointed in the game. I love that I got to experience it. And I felt like each chapter only went for about an hour. So, you know, it was polished but rushed, if that makes sense. And it was more, I felt like it was more of a walking simulator and a visually stunning walking simulator than it was an actual experience. I genuinely feel like they weren't able to capture the magic and the power that the first game had. And I feel like because I was expecting it to be a better version of the first game, and it was just toned down, that was a little bit disappointing for me.
I won't let you kill me. Ah!
My expectations weren't very high at all. It was just like, I want it to be the first game and then some. But it was barely the first game. My attachment to Senua didn't disappear or fade, but it just wasn't as strong. Because I feel like every other character in the game kind of distracted me from her, and therefore the voices weren't as effective for me. It was just there because it has to be there. The voices were more powerful when it was just me, myself, and I, because I had no other choice but to listen to what was going on. But during conversations and cutscenes and stuff, like, the voices felt a little unnecessary to me personally. But again, it was still cool, it was still beautiful. Overall, Senua's Saga was a great game. I would personally rank Hellblade Senua's Saga a 7. And Senua's Sacrifice, the first Hellblade, I would give a 9. Just because I just don't want to say 10. I don't know. Because it was very linear. But just everything about the first game was just more intriguing, more involved, and more magical as for being in understanding with Senua and being able to relate to Senua, and just that creep factor was more lively in the first one, whereas in the second one I feel like there was just a lot of distraction, that it wasn't a personal journey, that it was just more so you know, a continuation of something because it needs to be finished. But you know, still happy, still grateful, and I got to see Senua again, and just to witness how graphically impressive this game is just, it's enough. It's enough. So yeah, you guys, I hope that made sense. I hope it was informative, and thank you so much for watching this video. Go play Hellblade, check it out, let me know what you think, and when you get to Senua's Saga, which is available on Game Pass, thank you Xbox for Game Pass, because that would have hurt. I do love Senua and the art style and just everything of the way that this game was presented to me or to us as players. It's just so... Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.